So they had a couple questions afterwards to say that. So they're all yours.
Hi, how come nobody sits in the front row?
I don't know. We got one sole person over here.
I have Nick here who joined the call. A couple of my students may be dropping in just to meet you guys, and they might have some insight regarding using this tool that we've been messing with in our class. So this is Nick, everybody, who's also on the call. I don't know if you can see his face down there.
Yeah, we see him.
Okay, great. So and there's Pamela. Okay, like I said, people might be joining. So what I wanted to show you, first I'm going to show you the team that's working on the First Presbyterian website. Can you mute your sound, Pamela? I think that there's audio.
Can you hear me?
There's radio in the background.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So First Presbyterian team, the site architecture, what did you guys think of the site architecture of the site when you started looking at, all the navigation and everything?
Well, it definitely could have been simplified a lot more. And then really it kind of was mostly just overdone with an excess amount of tabs that could have probably been consolidated quite a bit per page.
Okay. Did any of you guys participate in the sort that I set up? Yeah, okay, I see one nodding, couple nodding. Okay, if you didn't get around to it, what I did is I used this tool. It's called Optimal Workshop. And so let me show you how this works. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so now you can see my screen instead of me, hopefully. You guys see all of this? I'm in optimalworkshop.com.
Yes.
Okay, so what this tool allows you to do is to set up a card sort. So before tools like this existed, you would do this exercise with actual note cards. And the whole objective of this is to try to figure out how users organize information, because we all have different points of view. But if you're developing a website, it's just you don't want to set it up as to what makes sense to you, because that might not make sense to other people. So clearly whoever made First United Presbyterian, their point of view was really unique. I mean, their navigation was weird, right? We already talked about that. So the way that you do this is you set up cards, okay? So I wrote a whole bunch of questions. Let's see if we can just see the cards by themselves. And okay, let me go back to analysis. Okay, well, here are my cards. So I just brainstormed 25 tasks that I thought users may be asking, questions they may be asking, things that they want to do. And it was kind of a stretch to come up with 25, to be honest with you. But I just came up with 25 things that I thought people might be asking based on the information that I saw on the site as it was. So like, are there Bible study groups? Are there music groups? Are there job opportunities? Are there mission trips? Blah, 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 blah. So those are my 25 questions. And what I did is I set it up as an open sort. So what that means is that when people came to do the sort, they took each of my cards and they made up a category name to put it in. And they could reuse that category name, and they might put other cards in that category name. So an open sort means like, okay, I'm designing the categories and I'm gonna just put your cards into the categories that I think make sense. So what you're seeing now is what people did. So are there Bible study groups? There were 9 unique categories. Services, church, general information, groups, opportunities, about, you give, in-depth information, things to do, information. So there's a pretty big spread. However, it looks like 2 people put them in about, church services. They're really, this is not the best, I didn't get the best result here because people are kind of all over the place. Let's see if we can find a better question where more people agreed on where it belongs. Well, this is an easy one. How can I contact the minister? Well, most people thought that it belonged in a page called Contact. So what we can do to get more data out of this is we can look at the categories people came up with, and we can start to consolidate them a little bit. So for example, because my users were making up the categories, some of them came up with, let me try to find it. They named things slightly different. So we have services-church and services for children. So we have two services. What I could do is I could select these two and I could standardize them and make them one category. Okay, so you're trying to find category names that are basically the same, time, location, and numbers. It's kind of a weird category. However, that seems very similar to location and hours. Do you see what I mean? Or like, here's a category called You Give, and it's very, very similar to I Give. Seems like that should just be called a category called Giving, something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna standardize them, and I'm gonna make this a new category name called Giving. Or maybe we'll say Giving Back. I like that category name. All right. Ultimately, I want to end up with my main categories from going through this exercise and kind of figuring out what the main categories should be. So after I'm done, I should be able to come up with a new hierarchy. And some of this is not black and white. Some of this, you're just going to have to make a call as a team. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second so I can look at you guys while I'm talking to you. Hang on a second. Well, first of all, do you guys have any questions about what I'm showing you?
None so far. Is there a way to like export that data to us in a PDF or something?
Yes. So what I'm going to do, I was thinking about doing a little bit more of an analysis of it, but there are a lot of reports, and I'll go back to it in a second. I'll show you some of the reports where you can see it does a comparison matrix. So for example, you can see certain questions that they thought were very similar and belonged together based on the user's responses. So all of these reports that are set up in here are very useful for designing the architecture of your website. So I will figure out a way to get some of this information to you. Once we take these reports and take this information, the next step would be to make a revised information architecture. So we make a revised navigation. And I assume you guys are you're building flowcharts for your sites?
Yeah.
Right. So what I mean by architecture, like I build a new flowchart based on what I've learned from this study. And then what I can do is I can do something called a reverse sort. And a reverse sort is where we decide, okay, here's the same 25 questions, and I, as the information architect, have decided which questions belong in which categories. And you see if your users agree with you. So you, instead of having them come up with the categories, you give them the categories, and then you see how well they place those questions in the categories where you think they belong. Does that kind of make sense? So I was thinking maybe what I could do is look at the data. I can share the data with you. Somehow we could agree on a new information architecture and then set up a reverse sort and test it and see how well it worked. You like that idea?
Yeah.
So my students are doing projects like this right now, and the class is called Information Architecture. So really the emphasis of the class is taking large quantities of information like this and figuring out how to organize it so it's most understandable to the user. I'm going to take over your screens one more time because I'll show you what the emphasis of their project is. And this exercise can be really, really helpful, even with a site like the First Presbyterian Baptist Church of Belleville. It's not a huge site, but there are sites that are much, much, much larger than this, and you can see where this type of sorting could be very valuable. The other limitation of what we're trying to do here is that Optimal Workshop, the software I'm using, it only allows me to work with 10 users, or no, 15 users for the free version. So I can only collect so much data with this free account that I have right now. I'm going to show you guys the reports one more time. Or I haven't showed you this. So some of these, to be honest with you, don't mean that much to me. But like, I think the standardization grid looks is kind of helpful. It is showing, so of the categories that I've created so far, it's showing how many people thought that this question belongs in this category. So once I've standardized all my categories, then I can kind of see, and the reason why these are not totaling 10, the number of responders, is because some of those questions, they picked categories that I haven't standardized yet. So I have to go through and standardize all my categories before this standardization grid is really meaningful to me. So once I do that, I think that this grid, I could export that to you, and that might be helpful for making your flow chart. Would that be good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll do my best standardizing, and this is the data that I'll give you. The similarity matrix, this shows that, okay, this is kind of hard to read, but it shows that, for example, what makes this church different from other Presbyterian churches, and is this Presbyterian church right for me? This has a very high score of 90 because that's the box that's between those two questions. And that makes sense because those are kind of both, those questions are both about the philosophy of the church, right? So I would think that these questions would be answered in the same category. The contact information, how to contact the church secretary and contacting the minister, that's 100% similarity. Obviously, those two questions would get answered in the same area. So things that have zeros, these are very dissimilar. So like job opportunities and contacting the minister don't belong in the same area at all. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was the problem with the current page as it is. There's so many little sub pages inside of each page instead of one large page with a lot of content.
These dendrograms, these are explained. There's a lynda.com course that actually goes through this all of these tools and everything. And they do a better job of explaining it than I do. But this is showing this says the actual agreement method works best with 30 or more participants and will depict only absolutely factual relationships. Okay, well, we only had 10 participants, so we're not going to get a whole lot out of this. But this shows what questions are the most similar. So it's saying that all of these questions kind of belong under career and volunteer opportunities. So I don't know. I don't think this is that meaningful. I mean, it's kind of helpful. All of these right here are tools that you can use to help you build your site architecture. And like I said, it's gray. It's shades of gray. The good thing is that once we make some decisions, then we can go back and test our decisions using a reverse sort. So I want to show you, let me show you a student project. Oops, wrong thing. Sorry, I might have to. I just pulled this up. It might be in my downloads folder. Okay, so this is an example of a student project where, let me make it smaller, where it's really an information architecture study. So she actually did an outline of the entire structure of the site. And then she did a flow chart later on. But what I wanted to show you is what we did is we did user scenarios. So we looked at representative user groups. And I know I breezed past this really quickly, but this is a study of the website of the History Museum, Missouri History Museum. So here's her user group, students. And this kid, Josh, he's 21-year-old senior who's studying at Webster. And what my student is doing is she's putting herself in the, as, you know, trying to imagine what it's like as different users using this site. So Josh wants to find books on the Louisiana Purchase. Okay, so here's the question, and here's the steps that he had to go through to do it. Okay, so we did 3 different user scenarios. And we try to pick users that are as different as possible, right? Because we want to kind of think about all of the different types of users that might have different types of questions. So if you think about the First Presbyterian Church, it might be new families moving to town who are looking for a church. It might be someone who was already part of the church who just is trying to get some information, or it could be, you know, somebody else totally different. But we want to think about really different types of users because they're all going to be looking for different things on the website. So I'm showing you these user scenarios because that's another tool you can use to help you decide what the navigational structure should be. So here is the current architecture of the Missouri History Museum website. So this is her flowchart. And I personally think this is a really nice one because I love the way that she's using color to imply levels of hierarchy. You know, so the lighter blue kind of, it intuitively tells us that it's at a lower level than the darker blue. And then the different colors are representative of different sections. So I think she did a nice job with that. And then she's showing relationships between pages that aren't necessarily in the main navigation. And now this is her revised architecture. So you can see that there are some changes, and now she's showing how she got there. Here's her diagram that she pulled from Optimal Sort. This is the results of her reverse sort, where she's testing to see, here's the question, and here's how many people look for it in the right place. And I know this is really hard to see, but you can see there are a lot of 10 out of 10s, which is great. That means all 10 of her participants looked in the right place for the answers for these questions. And here's more of her analysis. And then I asked them to take a look at how they would have redesigned the homepage based on what they found so far. So that's what we're working on. Do you guys have any questions about any of that?
Doesn't know.
Okay, well, why don't I, with your team, I'll send you the standardization grid and you guys can make a revised flowchart. And then if you get that back to me, then we'll do the reverse sort and I'll give you the results of your reverse sort to see how good the navigation is. And that is one more thing that you can present to your client to show that you've actually done some research to make sure that their navigation makes sense for a range of different users.
Awesome, thank you.
And then your client will love you and want to actually really hire you.
Works for me.
Okay. I'm ready to move on to the next topic unless, do you guys have anything to add, my Webster peeps over here?
What?
Okay.
She's trying to
Yeah. We can type here in the chat area as well. So the cool thing about using Google Hangout is this is all being recorded to YouTube right now. So I can take that video file and post it in my class and you can go back and review this later on.
Awesome, thank you. This is your, like I said, we're missing one or two people from your team. This is the Etsy team, so it was kind of an introduction. So do you want to say your name? And
my name's Summer. I'm Kristen.
Hi.
And do you have any questions for her? Or let her know like what you've been working on, or?
I'm doing your contact page, and I was wondering if there was anything you wanted me to add, because all I can find is your Facebook page.
For the contact page?
Yeah.
Well, so just to explain what these guys are doing, for Pamela and Nick, these guys are working on a website for my patch business, the eye patch business. I think I showed this to you. They don't know what I'm talking about because I don't think I've told them about it yet. So I make eye patches and I sell them on Etsy. It's kind of random. But now they're, I have a few new styles and I didn't show you guys that. And now they're actually, I have someone that's buying them in bigger volume and one in different styles. So I have more to share. But the contact page, what I would like to call out is like for wholesale inquiries, or for maybe make a drop down that allows the person to specify what they're interested in.
Okay.
Maybe we could also use an FAQ page as well. And I could send you content for that because I get the same questions a lot.
Okay.
What are you working on?
I'm doing the testimony.
Oh,
I was just gonna use what's already on your page, like what people have actually said.
yeah, I didn't even actually know this, but, and I assume you guys can see this as well, but when people provide feedback, they also can post pictures of them using the product. So maybe you've seen that already?
I didn't see that on your website, but
It's on the Etsy page.
It's on the Etsy page. People post, when they post feedback, they can, they write comments and they also post pictures. If there are ones that you want to use, I can do this for you. I would ask them permission to be on the regular website as well.
okay.
I also can get you feedback from sources that aren't there. So I will put that on my to-do list and get, from like eye doctors that would carry more weight than just a general consumer who tried out the patch.
Okay.
Because the Etsy site is just, it's just consumers that have bought the product. With eye doctors, they're the people who are diagnosing the condition. And so they would have more authority in terms of saying these are great or these suck,
Yeah.
To have endorsements from like real eye doctors would be a lot more compelling.
And then, Vicki, what are you working on?
The homepage, the About Us page. Do you have like special colors, or you want bright colors, or anything that stands on your page as far as like a background to it?
Well, you can see here, I'm going to pull up the page just if people don't know what I'm talking about. So all I have right now is an Etsy store, and you can see that the style of the graphics is like, it's supposed to be kind of fun and kind of retro, because I mean, you think about a parent who takes their kid to the eye doctor and the eye doctor says, yeah, your kid has a lazy eye, they're going to have to patch. And for a kid, that's kind of devastating, even for a parent too. And a lot of times the doctors recommend wearing some like adhesive patch, like, to stick on the skin, and that can be really irritating. And plus they're disposable, so you go through a lot of them if you're patching every day. So the look and feel that I'm trying to come across, what you're trying to communicate, is just, it's supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be like kind of like a little bit fun, a little bit retro, and like, hey, this is no big deal. You get to wear a fun patch kind of thing. So as you can see, there are a lot of bright colors in the product pictures. You can also see that all of the pictures are on a white background, which makes them look really crisp and clean. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. But in terms of any kind of little accent color, I would go with this really bright red. And I can tell you what typeface this is, or both of the typefaces, so that you can integrate that throughout the site for headers and whatnot. Does that help?
Do you guys have any questions on how you're going to display the images, or was that already discussed in the stuff she gave you?
No, we didn't discuss that, because Mike was gonna work on the shop page.
Okay. We're missing your shop, guys. The Mike is going to work on the shop page itself, so.
Okay, and I mean, I wanted to show you one thing
Yes.
about, so if I look at the bottom of the page, so here's some feedback. There's a kid wearing it. That's all I have right now, but I can, oh, here we go. That's cute.
That is cute.
Okay, I get scared to look at the reviews. I don't want to look. But they're good, that's good. All right, you just send people free stuff and give them their money back if they're unhappy. That's the best way to deal with it. You know, I mean, they can't complain if you give them their money back, right?
Exactly. Is there something you're looking for, since he's not here, on the shop page though? Like, is it going back to Etsy, or are you wanting it like in a thumbnails in a certain way, or?
Right. Well, I suppose, I guess I've toyed with the idea of selling through the website itself. However, I don't have that set up yet, so they could certainly mock it up so that I was actually selling products through the, but honestly, I would use some type of a plugin to bring into that page, like a Shopify page or something like that. Because just in terms of the volume of people that are going to be coming to the website and ordering through the website, at this point, it's just easy enough to send them to buy it on Etsy or somewhere else.
Right.
I am thinking about putting up different storefronts, maybe like an eBay store or an Amazon, sell through Amazon. So it could be more of like, okay, here's where you can buy them. I don't know, maybe that makes more sense now. Just, you can buy, you know what I mean? You just directing people to buying them at different third-party sellers instead of the site itself.
Okay.
Because what I've found is that I think that people are more comfortable buying from third-party sellers than tiny websites like, you know, they're used to buying things on Amazon or on eBay or on Etsy. And so I think they just as soon go there instead of me investing all of these time and energy into like building this store on my own site. Why not just send them to places that they're comfortable, where they're comfortable shopping?
Right. It's easy
So
enough.
perhaps, why don't I give you those stores and they can like make a page. The shop page would be, here's where you can buy them.
Okay. Okay.
How often does she make new patches, or do you like update as far as you're gonna have a new patch coming out soon or anything like that?
Yeah, that would be awesome on the homepage to have some new styles. Actually, yeah, and I usually update my Facebook page when I have new styles. And you guys should all like the Facebook page because I have like 3 likes. So do me a favor and like the Facebook page, all of you. Okay, so wait, sorry, I took up your screen. I wanted to show you, let me see. I can give you this content. I do have a couple of new patches. Well, this is the latest one, this extra large one, but I do have these new patches that I haven't launched yet. So, I mean, this is not accurate right now, but I do have new ones coming out. So that would be awesome on the homepage to have it. I would also like people on the homepage to be easily directed to Facebook so that, they can like my Facebook page and they can see that, they can feel sorry for me. They can say, oh, you only have 3 likes, and maybe they'll go like it. I lost you guys. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So does that help?
Yeah.
Yes. We're thinking about doing like a carousel of them, with your patches on like the homepage. Is there any specific ones that you don't want on there, or can we just use any of them?
You can use any of them. And if you need them right now, I have all my images sized to be square because Etsy likes square images. So they're 1,000 by 1,000 pixels and they're all square. However, when you think of carousels, typically they tend to be more like, banners. And so if you're trying to get square images in a banner, I can give you some new pictures that might be better suited for a carousel, that are the right proportions. So I'll stage some pictures and crop them to the exact proportions you need. And then you have pictures that are something different from the product listing pictures.
Would you want a carousel?
Sure. That's a great idea for the homepage. And then maybe, a link to the Facebook page. Etsy actually has a cool little thing, a cool little plugin that I'll show you. You see this right here? Oh, shoot, you don't see my screen. Aha. Do you see this little thing right here? You guys see that little bunch of thumbnail images?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so that's just a code snippet that you can get from Etsy. And, so that might be something on the shop page. You can say, oh, you can get on Etsy and then look at a little preview, or you might want to integrate something like that on the homepage. I don't know. I just pointed it out to you because in the shop page, we want to direct them to different places where they can go and buy them. Sorry, I can't remember what your last question was. You talked about the carousel.
Yeah, I think she was just talking about the carousel and what images you wanted in there. So I think
If you just tell me the proportion, I'll get you some nice art, at least 3 pictures that could be in the carousel. And I would like a new product feature on the homepage. That would be great. And then links to like a Facebook thing, at least on the homepage. I mean, I don't think that I would use like Twitter really. I mean, I could set it up, but it's such a visual, this is such a visual product that I don't think I would just set up Twitter to use it, that I would just have my Facebook stuff go to Twitter. So you could put in the social media icons if you wanted to.
Is there more about, I know on your Etsy page, there's a little section on the bottom that says about us. Is there more information that you want to put out there other than that little paragraph section?
Yeah, I guess I should write that. So I have a to-do list. I mean, probably I should have some more information about, why people patch, and I don't know. I can come up with some stuff for you.
I'm just curious, I didn't know if like there was
Yeah.
reason behind it, and that's why you started it, if you wanted that on there, or if it was just
Right.
something else.
Well, actually, to be honest with you, the reason why I started it is my family has an optical supply business. So we sell like a bunch of products to Clarkson and, eyeglass shops. And so we make a lot of products in-house. Our vendor that made the eye patches were like really expensive, and they were kind of ugly. So I looked at them and I'm like, I think I can do a better job than this. And so that's what I started looking at some of our competitors' catalog and saw the styles that they were carrying. And so I just started making them myself. And then I sold them on Etsy. And then we have my parents' business has a small direct-to-consumer site. So some of their products that they would sell to the eye doctor's office, they would also sell directly to consumers. So we started selling the patches on the direct-to-consumer site and started selling them, you know, and the great thing was it allowed me to work out some of the problems with my design. And I also got to see what colors and styles were the most popular. And so actually just this week, my parents' business, the optical supply company that they ship out a catalog, 40,000 catalogs. I mean, they have thousands of customers all over the country. And all my eye patch styles are in their catalog now.
Nice.
So as of yesterday, they wanted to know, well, what initial amount of product should we stock? And so I've been making eye patches around the clock. It's ridiculous. So I'm outsourcing the production of eye patches now. I have, it's kind of cool. I have this, there's a local nonprofit here called Foray. It's Friends of Refugees and Immigrants in St. Louis. And the way that the organization makes money is they make products. The women who are part of the organization make products and they sell them online. You should check them out. It's Foray. I'll send you guys the link if you want. Anyway, they make really cute baby bibs and women's skirt and jewelry, and they are always at craft shows and whatnot. So Jen, who runs the organization, in order for the organization to survive, they do contract sewing work. So they will take in other people's products. So right now they're making these bow ties. This guy has a bow tie business. And so they're going to be making the eye patches now. So the way that it works is I pay an hourly rate to the organization, and the organization keeps 30% to fund the organization, and so they can do their good work. And then 2/3 of the hourly wage goes to the women who sew them. So it's exciting because it's such a win-win situation. I mean, it's a new business for me, but I'm supporting this organization and offering a new product in the catalog for my family's business. So I'm just really excited about the project.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, no, good question.
And you guys can reach out to me directly. Nikki can give you my email. So clients are the worst. I'm sure she's told you this. Clients are the worst when it comes to getting you the content that you need.
I think we stemmed that already with some clients. Do you guys have anything else for us? Questions on the navigation?
No.
Questions in general?
I guess really we just need to wait for all the PDF and data from the optimal workplace.
Right.
And then hopefully we should be able to consolidate it pretty good.
Yeah, I'll try to get you to that report later today. And you guys need to tell me what the dimensions of the carousel are going to be so I can make some new pictures for you. I think probably some pictures of, I like the clean look of the white background. So it's probably some pictures of the patches actually on the glasses. Maybe somebody wearing them on a nice clean white background. And then I need to follow up with the people that posted pictures on my website and ask if I can use them on my Etsy store and ask them if I can use them on the website. And I'll try to get some other testimonials, write a more meaningful about page. I've got quite a to-do list for you guys. Nodding. I'm not going to be the bad client. I've dealt with enough bad clients. I'm going to be the good client.
They're happy to hear that, I think. So, all right. Well, we appreciate you taking the time and going through it with us. And we'll be looking forward to working with you some more.
Okay, and I'll send you the link to this video in case the students that weren't there want to check it out later. And then maybe we can schedule again I can show you guys the results of the reverse sort.
Okay, sounds great.
And maybe it'll be more later at the end of the semester and I can see what you guys have done on my website.
Definitely. Sounds good.
Okay, cool. Have a great day. Bye, guys.
Bye.